Coming up today, you've got tips on how to survive midterm season.
And what is going on in the House of Representatives?
All this and more right now on Newswave.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the first episode of Newswave. Today is Friday, October 6th. I'm Cynthia Morales.
And I'm Luke McCauley. Our first story this semester is on student government's plans to improve student mental health. Trinity University's Student Government Association is making history by committing an impressive $100,000 to support mental health initiatives on campus. This is the largest single-sum contribution ever made by the SGA in Trinity's history, signaling their commitment to student well-being. The initiative, spearheaded by President Vanessa Beasley, connects the President's Office, SGA, integrated counseling, and health services with the goal of improving student mental health. The initiative approaches this goal by enhancing accessibility, increasing supporting services, and establishing rapid feedback routes to gauge wellness needs. This fall, the program will launch with some exciting components, including expanded programming, workshops on holistic wellness, and a new dog therapy program involving facility and staff. It also includes training for facility and staff to address mental health in the classroom, programs to decrease the gender gap in seeking care, and efforts to increase connections and reduce loneliness among students. These efforts are driven by findings from a recent survey that highlighted the need for mental health support among Trinity students. More than half of Trinity students sought mental health services in the past year, and many reported high stress levels and school-related anxiety. The initiative will work in the collaboration with various campus organizations, including It's On Us, Active Minds, and The Hidden Opponent, as well as existing athletic and grief life prevention programs. In the words of SGA President and Newswave journalist Danny Wynn, SGA is proud to support the livelihood of students at Trinity, and they are committed to making a meaningful impact on student mental health wellness.
At the beginning of the 2023 school year, it was announced that Trinity moved up in the national rankings for the best liberal arts universities. Trinity jumped 12 spaces from 31st to 19th, joining the top 6% of private universities in the nation. The ranking was set on niche.com, a college ranking site that has a huge influence on college application processes. Justin Doughty, Trinity's Dean of Admissions, noted that the climb in the rankings will, quote, increase exposure where tens of thousands of more students will be able to see Trinity. Trinity is now also noted as the second best private college in Texas, right after Rice University. Now that Trinity is being compared to colleges of a smaller size, Trinity will be able to focus on showcasing the unique cultures and opportunities that are offered here. With this new ranking, admission officers hope that the new exposure will allow more potential students to see themselves why Trinity is good for them.
San Antonio Independent School District has recently revealed plans to close 19 schools over the next 2 school years. Schools like Baskin Elementary, Lamar Elementary, and Tainan Early Childhood Center are among those facing potential closure. The move follows declining birth rates, increased competition from charter schools, and plummeting enrollment numbers in public institutions. Trustee Sarah Sorensen voiced concerns over the community's limited engagement in the decision-making process. Sorensen emphasized the importance of focusing on students rather than finances. Parents have also expressed frustration about the lack of communication and clarity, with some stating that the closures would strip communities of their identity. Despite assurances that closures aren't financially driven, Superintendent Aquino stressed the district's dire financial state. The goal? A more equitable distribution of resources. With a drop of over 15,000 students since 1998, a decline that is expected to continue, the district is struggling to adapt. As Newswave receives more updates on these closures, we will be sure to keep you informed.
On Tuesday, September 19th, the TU Voter Engagement Task Force hosted a National Voter Registration Day event at the Coates Esplanade. The event was focused on making voting accessible to students and featured several off-campus organizations, such as the League of Women Voters of the San Antonio area and Move Texas. They also aim to raise awareness about upcoming elections and assist students in registering to vote. Kaylee Casino, a sophomore sociology major, expressed her pride in Trinity being, quote, voter-friendly campus, and stressed the importance of showcasing the voting process. The event also prompted the broader goal of facilitating deliberative conversations among students of diverse political perceptions. Bernadette Buchana emphasized further the importance of all students engaging in local politics, stating, quote, you're an adult, and you should have a say in local politics and school board, and all those things. The event serves as an important reminder that the best time to register to vote is now.
The 30 days from September 15th to October 15th mark Latinx and Hispanic Heritage Month all around the United States. Traditionally, Trinity has celebrated this month in a variety of meaningful ways, and this year is no exception. Many different organizations have come together to celebrate, including the Mexico, Americas, and Spain program, the Trinity University Latino Association, and the Student Diversity and Inclusion Office. There are 8 separate dates scheduled for events around Trinity and the San Antonio area. The SDA office kicked off festivities on September 20th with a mercado in Coates Esplanda, followed by a humanity event that held Latinx heritage discussions on the 26th. If you missed either of those, don't worry, there's still a lot to be excited about coming up. One event you do not want to miss will be held today, Friday, October 6th, at 6:30 this evening at Lori Auditorium, featuring one of the biggest productions of Viva las Americas. Trinity's Latino Association will be directing a talent showcase that will conclude with the musical group Combo Musical and an array of food. All events are open to all individuals in the Trinity community, and we here at Newswave recommend you join the festivities. We hope to see you there.
Still coming up, Newswave weather segment returns for the first time since 2019.
And information on where you can celebrate Dia de los Muertos.
All this and more when we come back.
All right, I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Welcome back to Newswave. The transition of dining services to Chartwell's is in full force, with thousands of students grabbing food from Maybe and Coates every day. Trinity students have welcomed Chartwell's to campus with positive remarks. Their approach to a more sustainable dining experience has created changes around campus. In a recent article, the Tritonian explained that, quote, 50% of the products sourced from vendors are local or sustainably sourced, with some coming from Trinity's community garden. Along with this, Chartwell's hopes to lower food waste and find ways to become more eco-friendly. Students have expressed their excitement and hope with Chartwell's, with one student saying, quote, before I could never really tell what I could eat because I'm gluten-free. And now it's like I go up to the table and I know exactly what I can eat. Cristina Castillo, a license between Chartwell's and Trinity, wants to remind students that their voice matters. If students don't like something, we hear it and changes can be made. When Trinity University closed down in the spring of 2020, many aspects of student life closed down with it. Although Newswave was able to produce episodes virtually, our old weather reporting service sadly did not survive the digital transition. After a 3-year break, we are proud to announce the return of our weather program, hosted by Luke Morton. Take it away, Luke.
Thank you, Cynthia. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the weekend. Last week was quite warm for the beginning of October, with high temperatures in the low 90s. However, this weekend looks to be the best weather we've had in months, with highs in the upper 70s and lows in the upper 50s and low 60s. Skies should be mostly sunny, so get out there and enjoy the weekend while you can. After this hot and miserable summer we've had, having our first fall cool front will hopefully help brighten up our spirits and perhaps justify a pumpkin spice latte order. Next week it looks to be a warm-up with highs in the mid-80s, but it shouldn't be as hot as it was this past week. Skies should be mostly sunny and overall very pleasant. There are signs of a cool front arriving for the fall break weekend, but it is too far out to say anything for certain, though I am hoping for sunny skies next Saturday as a solar eclipse will occur in the San Antonio area on October 14th. Mark your calendars. Anyways, that's all I have for today. I wish you all a fun weekend and get out there and enjoy the weather.
Thank you so much, Luke, for that report. Coming to San Antonio this October is the two-day celebration of Dia de los Muertos Fest at Hemisphere Park. Marking its 11th anniversary, the festival celebrates and honors the tradition of reuniting the living with their loved ones who have departed. The event will take place at 630 Nueva Street from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. on October 28th, and from noon to 9 p.m. on October 29th. With live music, vendors, markets, and altars honoring past loved ones, the festival is free and open to the public. In previous years, the National Geographic has ranked Muertos Fest as one of the 7 best fall festivals in the entire United States. While the official lineup of performers has yet to be announced, you can get more details about Muertos Fest at ksat.com, who is projecting that, quote, more than 100,000 people are expected to attend.
The Supreme Court has agreed to hear a case determining whether Florida and Texas can prevent large social media companies from removing posts on the basis of political opinions. This raised questions about how the First Amendment applies to tech platforms. The law supporters argue they are necessary to combat perceived censorship by tech giants, particularly regarding conservative viewpoints. According to the New York Times, along with 2 trade groups, NetChoice and the Computers Communications Industry Association have challenged these laws. They assert that the First Amendment should protect them from government intrusion on private company speech policies. The Supreme Court's decision to hear these cases follows a clear conflict between 2 federal appeals courts on the issue. Upholding the Texas law, Judge Oldham said, quote, "Today, we reject the idea that corporations have a first-wheeling First Amendment right to censor what people say." He added, "The platforms are not newspapers. Their censorship is not speech." You don't need to watch the news to know that this has been one of the hottest summers in recent history. But what you might not know is that the massive heat waves have worsened drought conditions, causing wildfires and crop shortages throughout the state of Texas. Earlier this month, the Texas Tribune reported that this year's summer heat has caused a drought affecting over 80% of the state. This follows a large drought in 2022, which was recorded as one of the worst in state history. Last year, rains in August and September helped to relieve the drought, but the rain simply hasn't fallen this year. The drought has caused a statewide water shortage, with Austin Lake's Travis dropping from 49% full in 2022 to just 36% this year. This water shortage has had an impact on numerous crops, but none more than cotton. The cotton industry has reported a $2 billion loss last year, and another major loss is expected again this year. The summer's drought also caused over 1,000 wildfires this season, burning more than 12,000 acres. Even though Texas can expect cooler temperatures in the coming months, the effects of the summer heat wave are far from resolved.
Up ahead, we've got the scoop on what's going on in Congress. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov. Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you were really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Welcome back. This past August, Trinity University hosted a rededication ceremony to open the newly renovated Chapman Center, attended by local and state officials, the representatives of the Chapman Family Trust, along with faculty, staff, and students and alumni. The Chapman Center reopened with pageant and circumstance. The Chapman Center is home to the School of Social Sciences and the Michael Neidorff School of Business. The renovations began in 2022. Upon completion this August, students have enjoyed updated facilities, state-of-the-art collaboration spaces, and, my favorite, the disappearance of large construction sites. The goal of the new and improved Chapman building is to connect faculty and students across all business, economics, and healthcare administration interests as a way to improve communication and provide resources accessibility. Julie Perslin, accounting professor and one of the faculty advisors of the Chapman Center renovations, stated that, quote, "It is a true academic home for students and faculty that creates a sense of belonging and an excitement for learning to all those who pass through its doors." Midterm season is already in full effect here at Trinity, and our associate producer, Danny Wood, interviewed students on their midterm study tips. Let's take a look.
Midterm season is finally here, and to many students, it can be a pretty stressful time. From juggling exams and papers to just everyday tasks to deal with, it is important to be prepared for anything and everything. I asked some Tigers around campus to see if they had any tips and tricks for students during this time.
I would say during midterm season, you should definitely take time for yourself, take care of yourself during midterms, because a lot of people forget to do that. So study, but also take care of yourself.
For midterms, I would honestly just try my best to form study groups and start studying as early as possible. Personally, I like separating the content and breaking it down based on whatever you learned, and just study little by little over a certain period of time so you're not cramming in the end. And yeah.
Definitely for midterms, I would say don't procrastinate. It's important to take a brain break and just walk around, get some coffee, and make sure to email your professors if you have any question, and I would say also attend office hours.
Remember, it is important to study efficiently and to also take care of yourself during the stressful season. From all of us at Newswave and TigerTV, good luck on your midterms and stay positive. This is Danny Wynn, Newswave 14, reporting.
Last Saturday, Jamal Bowman, a Democratic representative from New York, pulled a fire alarm while Republicans were rushing a vote on a stopgap funding measure. Bowman pulled the fire alarm as Democrats were scrambling to read the bill and decide which way they should vote. Bowman later admitted to pulling the fire alarm, saying, quote, "I am embarrassed to admit that I activated the fire alarm, mistakenly thinking it would open the door. But I want to be very clear, this was not me, in any way trying to delay any vote. It was the exact opposite. I was trying urgently to get to a vote." Despite this explanation, Republicans in the House expressed their frustration. Fellow New York Representative Nicole Malliotakis said, quote, "This is the United States Congress, not a New York City high school." The proposed bill eventually passed 395 to 91, and internal investigations have been opened to find out exactly what happened.
Last weekend, fears of a government shutdown were put to rest as President Joe Biden signed into law a temporary funding program that kept the federal government afloat into the near future. The bipartisan endeavor passed with 335 in favor and 91 opposed. Following the vote, representatives rushed to submit the deal for presidential approval with less than 12 hours before the deadline. The threat of a shutdown may seem trivial, however, it has the potential to interfere with the daily lives of millions of Americans. For example, parents who rely on Head Start programs for food benefits and child care would have been left to fend for themselves. Additionally, federal employees nationwide would have to work without pay including TSA agents, airfare traffic controllers, and over 2 million active duty military personnel. The potential of a shutdown is the result of partisan division on budget allocation for the upcoming year, and lawmakers battled over the merits of the defense spending on Ukraine, as well as the budget cuts to federal programs. The conflicts were temporarily put to rest by a deal that extended the timeline for 45 days. Although this deal did prevent the shutdown of the federal government, its passage may have instigated an even larger conflict within the legislative branch.
Soon after the government shutdown was avoided, new debates sprung to life in the United States House of Representatives. As the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, was voted out of the position, McCarthy was removed from the top leadership position on Tuesday, October 3rd, and has been temporarily replaced by our interim Speaker, Representative Patrick Henry of North Carolina. The removal reflects a growing rift in the GOP about the future of the party, as a small fraction of far-right representatives seek to exert greater influence over the party platform. This faction was led by Matt Gaetz, a representative from Florida, who initiated the formal process of voting on the speakership. According to CNN.com, Gaetz criticized the Speaker as someone who, quote, couldn't keep his word and paralyzed the House of Representatives. These criticisms across during the debates over the impending government shutdown has, as Speaker McCarthy, collaborated with Democrats to pass a temporary relief package that prevented government closure. Despite their temporary alignment with Speaker McCarthy, the Democrats in the House voted in line with Gaetz in its hyper-conservative coalition to secure a hairline margin of 218 to 210 in favor of removal. Although the federal government avoided shutdown, the House of Representatives was forced to enter a recess with party strategies for the election of a new speaker. Former Speaker McCarthy has publicly stated that he would not run for reappointment. A vote for the new speaker is expected sometime in the next week. The U.S. House of Representatives has trained a shutdown for a stoppage, and all this week's drama has seemingly come to a close. There will undoubtedly be much to unpack in the coming weeks.
According to local authorities in Tamaulipas, the roof of a Mexican church in the Gulf Coast city of Ciudad Madero collapsed on October 1st, killing 11 out of 70 in attendance of Sunday Mass. After sending search dogs and thermal imaging cameras under the collapsed concrete slab, State Governor Americo Villarreal announced that nobody apart from the deceased appeared to be trapped. His optimism will be put to the test when cranes start lifting chunks of the collapsed slab off the floor and the tops of the pews. On Monday, KSAT San Antonio reported that 23 of the 60 injured were hospitalized, and 2 in critical conditions. Father Pablo Gavan, priest who was just outside the parking lot at the moment of the collapse, added that the roof, quote, just simply and plainly collapsed, like an implosion when you crush a can. We still can't understand what happened. Our hearts are with the families of those affected by this terrible accident.
We've still got our first sports report of the year up ahead. We'll be right back after the break.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Welcome back to our final segment of our first show. After a 140-day Hollywood writers' strike, the Writers Guild of America has secured a 3-year deal with major Hollywood studios, pending ratification. David Goodman, co-chair of the WGA's negotiation committee, says this deal is being hailed as exceptional for its future-focused rider protections. According to the NPR.com, key achievements of the deal include preservation of minimum staff sizes, the safeguarding of the rider's room, and the residuals tied to the streaming success. The contract also introduces protections against artificial intelligence, ensuring that writers will be responsible for screenplays and teleplays rather than AI-generated content. Additionally, streaming companies like Netflix have committed to transparency regarding viewership data, and successful shows will lead to bonuses for writers. These groundbreaking changes were prompted by demands from the WGA and actors union SAG-AFTRA, and the total value of the deal is estimated to be $233 million.
Up next, we have our sports segment hosted by Caleb Reed. Caleb, take it away.
Awesome, thanks Luke. Good afternoon everyone and welcome to this first sports segment of the season. My name is Caleb Reed and it is great to be with y'all today. Starting off, Trinity football has gotten off to an incredible hot streak, moving on from a week 1 loss to win their last 4 games. The Tigers have faced some stiff competition that has included ranked opponent UMHB, who they beat 35-16 in the home opener. Trinity has scored over 30 points in every game so far this season, with 46 points last week in their shootout win over Berry College down in Georgia. The next game will be here at Trinity, where the Tigers play Center College. That game kicks off tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Trinity volleyball has continued their solid performance seen from last year, taking a 17-3 record through the first 20 games of the season. The team has won 13 straight and wrapped up an SCAC tournament in Colorado last week, and they will get the weekend off before playing again on Tuesday. Both men's and women's soccer are well into their seasons, with the men enjoying a top 25 national ranking after the weekend's performance. The Tiger men dominated Southwestern 4-0 last Friday, but suffered a tough 0-2 defeat in Seguin against Texas Lutheran. The loss dropped the team from number 11 in the national standings to number 25, but there's still plenty of time for the team to bounce back. The Trinity women's team has had a bit of a rocky patch this season, starting the year with a 3-4-2 record so far. They come off of a strong 4-0 win against TOU and hope to carry the momentum forward into this weekend. Both the men and women play at home this weekend, with tonight's action starting at 5:30 against the University of Dallas and 2 Sunday games starting at noon against Austin College. Meanwhile, the NFL quarter season mark has officially come and gone, with a number of surprises across the league. The Cowboys, 49ers, and Eagles all look like powerhouses in the NFC, while the AFC has been a cluster of results to say the least. The Kansas City Chiefs appear to remain at the top of the conference, but the Buffalo Bills have also emerged as potential threats once again. Though it is still too early in the season to make a definitive prediction over the course of the year, the next few weeks will feature games with potential implications. One of those games is the Cowboys playing the 49ers this weekend, while the Houston Texans, led by rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud, sit at 2-2 and play the Falcons this weekend. Meanwhile, on to Formula One, the F1 season is just starting to wrap up, with just 6 races to go before the season finale. Red Bull has won their 2nd consecutive Constructors' Championship following their results in Japan last weekend, capping off a dominant season that saw them break multiple team records. The success of Red Bull is due in large part to the success of their lead driver, Max Verstappen. Verstappen broke the record for consecutive race wins earlier this season and can clinch his 3rd consecutive Drivers' Championship this weekend in Qatar. The race at the Losail International Circuit starts on Sunday at noon. Finally, the calendars have flipped over to October, which means that it is playoff time in baseball. The Baltimore Orioles earned the best record in the American League, while the Atlanta Braves clinched both the best record in the National League and in baseball overall. After a back-and-forth season, the Houston Astros emerged atop the AL West, winning the division on the last day of play. Meanwhile, the Texas Rangers finished just 1 game behind them and earned their first playoff appearance since 2016. The only active players between the 2023 and 2016 rosters are pitchers Jose Leclerc and Martin Perez, who have both been major players in the Rangers' staff so far this season. The Rangers won their series against the Tampa Bay Rays in the wild card in a 2-game sweep, taking their first playoff series win since their 2011 World Series run. The Rangers blanked the Rays 4-0 in Game 1 and then took a massive 7-1 victory in Game 2 to win the series. They played the Orioles, with the first game coming tomorrow at noon. Meanwhile, the Astros will play the Minnesota Twins, who just finished beating the Toronto Blue Jays in 2 games, 3-1 and 3-1 and 2-0. That's all from me for this week. I hope that y'all have a great weekend and make sure to take care.
Thanks, Caleb. This past Sunday, former President Donald Trump flew to New York City in a continuation of his legal woes. According to CNN, Trump is appearing in New York civil fraud court over questions about the legitimacy of his companies. The case was brought forward in September 2022 by New York Attorney General Letitia James, who filed a lawsuit against Trump, his eldest son, and several executives. Just over a week ago, Trump received a major blow by the judge who ruled that the former president is liable for fraud and that he overvalued his properties on financial statements for the past decade. James is currently seeking $250 million in damages, a ban on the Trumps from serving as officers at a business in New York, and a ban on the company from engaging in business transactions for 5 years.
Over the weekend, the United States celebrated former President Jimmy Carter's 99th birthday. The event took place at the Carter Library Museum in Atlanta. Back home in the Plains, Georgia, Carter celebrated with his wife, Rosalind, their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. On Sunday, President Biden posted a video saying, quote, "Mr. President, happy birthday, pal." Carter is currently the longest-lived president in the U.S. history and is given credit for his global work after departing from the Oval Office. Former President Carter has overcome a lot in the past few years. In early 2015, he was diagnosed with a particular aggressive type of skin cancer. He was able to overcome cancer at the age 90. Carter also had a hip replacement at age 94 and learned to walk again. Birthday wishes have poured in, including tributes from Bill Clinton, musicians like Peter Gabriel and the Indigo Girls, as well as everyday Americans nationwide. This weekend was a sweet one for one of our nation's leaders, and we here at Newswave wish President Carter a very happy birthday.
That's all the time we have for this week. We hope to see you again next week for our live next show, airing out Friday, October 20th at 3 p.m.
From everyone at Newswave, we hope you enjoyed this episode and have a good weekend. I'm Cynthia Morales.
And I'm Luke McCauley. We'll see you next time.